Facebook world. Welcome into our Sports First Studios. Andres Cordero in the house today. This guy, Lionel Messi, is in action. We're going to get Andres' take on yesterday, his little enemy Cristiano Ronaldo, and then touch on today's Champions League matches. Before touching on Copa Libertadores action, all this on Sports First that starts right now.
It's life size.
So for those of you that don't know, one of Andres Cordero's favorite topics is the Messi versus Ronaldo debate. He is just enthralled by it. And because Ronaldo stepped up in such a major way today, I have a question that our producers are dying to ask Dre. Does this make Ronaldo better than Messi now?
Oh, unequivocally. Yeah, that's it. That's how it goes. One game to the... No, honestly, it's a ridiculous debate. You're saying it tongue-in-cheek.
It is, it is.
But I think we do both players a disservice by constantly comparing them, given that they have completely different characteristics. The only place where they are comparable is they're both outliers in the volume of goals that they score. Nobody comes close to it. Like, you might get Diego Costa for one season, the year that Atletico won the title, score at the volume comparable to Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Occasionally someone does it, but on a season-to-season basis for well over a decade, nobody does. And Ronaldo might be the best goal scorer, pure goal scorer we've ever seen.
And he showed it yesterday. Just touching a little bit on yesterday's matches because we haven't gotten your take on it.
Yes.
What went right for Juventus and what went terribly wrong for an Atleti side who never conceded 3 goals and did on the biggest night maybe at the Wanda Metropolitano,
So,
you know.
I was massively disappointed with Max Allegri in the first leg.
Right.
And I am massively disappointed with Diego Simeone in the second leg, but I'm not surprised by any of it because they're both sort of uber pragmatic managers who are risk averse, who try and minimize risk as much as possible, even though they are both at the helm of legitimate super clubs. I mean, you might say that Atletico Madrid have this sort of little guy syndrome because they play in the same league as Barcelona and Real Madrid, but they spend about 100 million euros more than the next highest spender in La Liga, which is Valencia. So we're talking about super clubs with some of the world's best players, with World Cup winners on both sides.
Right.
And yet, both managers are so, reined in that they sort of limit their players at times. And so I thought in the first leg, Max Allegri went with virtually no width, no attacking width, against a very narrow Atletico Madrid that in fact had 4 central midfielders lined up in the middle. And so you can attack them out wide. All those wide players were on the bench in the first leg. All those wide players started the second leg in Turin, and that was the difference. You look at Bernardeschi, Joao Cancelo, who was on the left back was Spinazzola.
Yes.
And those were the guys that did the damage because that was a place where you just look at this Atleti team and you say, yeah, you can hurt them out wide.
Right.
So Allegri, uber pragmatic, sort of got in his own way in the first leg, corrected that in the second leg. And Atletico Madrid, I know that they're the best, along with Juventus, the best defensive side on the planet. But in the Champions League, on that stage, when you have competitors like Cristiano Ronaldo on the other side, you cannot just sit back and absorb for 90 minutes because you have a 2-goal advantage. It's much better to go and try and get that away goal where you put them in a much deeper hole, and they never did that.
Correct. So from a great European night at the Wanda to a great European night in Turin, that's what it was. Let's check the comments here to see what you guys are saying. Fabian Cardellino, instead of comparing them, let's enjoy their last years of
seriously.
aliens on the pitch, of course.
By name, which producer wanted to bring that question up?
I think you can guess.
I'm going to fight them in the alley after this show.
Timothy Standard, we're coming after you. Rafi Novar, Italians are known with the best defensive strategy, yes, but we didn't see that in the first leg.
So Tim does think it's hilarious. He does. He thinks it's super funny and because it does annoy me. And I'm not pretending to be annoyed by it. I'm genuinely annoyed by it. The reason being is you have a brilliant Champions League game that just happened yesterday. And instead, people want to have the same conversation they've been having for 15 years.
Right.
Who's better? Like, it ignores that a game even took place.
Correct. And the comparison really has no place because it's completely irrelevant.
Right.
So,
I'm coming after you, Tim.
Lucio Domata Santos, stop comparing these two fantastic players. Guys, it was a joke to get him riled up. Ray Atletico came out and had no idea what they were doing in that field. Ronaldo will not have a better game than he did last night. Well, we'll see about that. But, I mean, obviously, Juventus moving on. Would you say they're Champions League favorites now after that performance?
So both of these teams were, right? There's always like a select, like a 4 or 5 teams that are legitimate Champions League contenders. And going into that first leg at the Wanda Metropolitano, both of these teams were, because these are 2 teams that have been to the Champions League finals more than once in recent years. So absolutely, they were both going into the round were Champions League favorites, and coming out of the round, whoever won, in this case Juve, are Champions League favorites. And when I say favorites, among the 2 or 3 favorites.
Absolutely, no, they're definitely not the only ones. Man City, who also pulled together another convincing performance, possibly favorites also, although Guardiola has labeled them teenagers, which is interesting. We're not going to get into that. Moving on to today's matches, this man is in action today, Lionel Messi, 0-0 against Lyon. Do you think Barcelona are going to sleep a little bit on Lyon and maybe have to fight this one back?
You know, if they've not been paying attention to what's happened in the Champions League the last couple of weeks, right? So in some ways, the things that are happening are sort of alarm bells for Barcelona.
For everyone.
Be careful, the favorites are not safe. And Barca have had a tendency to concede first sometimes throughout the course of the season and have to battle back into games. When they have that guy, it makes it a lot easier to battle back. So I think Barcelona are in for a fight at the Camp Nou. Obviously, 0-0 means that a draw would favor Lyon. And so if Barcelona do find themselves in a situation where they're having to fight back, getting just that equalizer would not be enough.
Correct. No, I think we're really looking forward to a very interesting match. Jack Mael Calderon, can Barcelona face Juventus in the Champions League? Absolutely. I mean, it's all to play for if they make it past Lyon. Neymar Jr., good luck Barcelona. Neymar, are you coming back to Barcelona and writing on Sports Burst? Jazzy Loft.
Neymar the third?
Yeah,
Neymar
I guess
Jr.
Yeah, are you his son? But
it's squared, so it's the fourth.
Mike Fuentes being cheeky here. So, Dre, are you hashtag Team Messi or Team Ronaldo? Mike Fuentes also saying, Lyon, please do it for the people. What an upset that would be, I think, Barcelona crashing out at this point of the season, of the competition.
It would be. And Barca, this is one of the, I don't want to say the word weaker, because Barcelona are still, we talk about favorites, I think they're absolutely at that elite level. But in terms of points in La Liga, they've been weaker than in years past. So this is not by any means as strong as Barcelona, but this is sort of the moment to prove that the accident against Roma last season was just that, an accident, because Barcelona don't have, they're not coming back from a deficit. They don't have a big lead. It's just basically all to play for at home against a very good Lyon side. They're getting Nabil Fekir back from suspension. Fekir missed out on that first leg.
Correct.
He is their creative engine going forward. It makes a world of difference. And we have to see whether Ousmane Dembele is healthy enough to start this game. He's on the active call-up, so he's made the squad, which was a question. The fact that he's there is encouraging, but they're a very different side, especially at this stage of the Champions League. With him there, they're so much more threatening than with Coutinho, who positionally isn't the right fit, and just from a psychological standpoint seems to be a little bit shaken up.
Right. And this man will obviously be in action today, but he promised at the beginning of the season that Barcelona will win the Champions League, that they were going to win the Champions League. He made that announcement at the Camp Nou, and what an upset it would be to crash out now.
Let me tweak that a little bit. He set that as the season goal, right? Because what happened, if you have to be careful.
Because they won La Liga last season, they won the Copa del Rey, and so this season they wanted to do something differently.
And you have to be careful with Messi promised the Champions League. I think he promised to compete for the Champions League. I don't think he promised to win the Champions League, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Andres Cordero, always with the political
Well, no, because then it becomes a laughing stock if they don't win it and he promised to win it as opposed to set it as a goal.
But the other match today, Bayern Munich versus Liverpool, I wonder which of the two teams would it be a bigger upset for them to crash out, Bayern or Liverpool? Which would you be most shocked to see gone at this point of the season?
I think most people would pick Liverpool to be the favorites in this match. And so if you take that into account, then just based on the form this season, based on how competitive they've been, based on the energy and excitement and enthusiasm that there is around Liverpool at the moment, and what Jurgen Klopp has brought to that club, it might be just on form and whatnot a bigger surprise for Liverpool to crash out. But this is Bayern Munich, and it's Bayern at home, and on club pedigree over the last 10, 15, 20 years, Bayern Munich are a much bigger side than Liverpool, who obviously had their moment some years ago. And I don't know. I don't think there is a clear-cut favorite here. Bayern have a few more injuries, a few more suspensions to deal with than Liverpool, so Liverpool a little bit healthier and fresher. But Bayern at home, they just scored 6 goals against Wolfsburg at their home stadium in Bundesliga. They've scored 11 goals in the last 2 league matches, and they're Bayern Munich, and in these moments, you don't bet against those giants.
So Jurgen Klopp is someone who everyone kind of loves. He's this likable guy, doesn't really get heated in the press room, and he did get a little bit agitated by a question asked by a reporter. A lot of people insinuating that maybe Liverpool want to get knocked out of the Champions League so they can focus on their Premier League title hunt. And he said, I just don't understand this question. This question doesn't get asked to any other manager except for the Liverpool manager. And he's right.
So what was the question?
If Liverpool would prefer to be knocked out of the Champions League so they aren't stretched so thin across so many competitions and they can focus on the Premier League.
It's a very dumb question. I can see why you would take exception.
But the thing is, a lot of Liverpool fans, and we've asked our Liverpool fans here on the show, which would they prefer to win, and everyone says the Premier League.
Sure, so that's a question you can ask Liverpool fans. I don't think that's a question you should ask of the Liverpool manager or Liverpool players. You compete to win everything that you play in. So I mean, I understand the frustration from Jurgen Klopp. What do you want him to answer there? Oh no,
Correct.
we don't care about this competition, or we don't care about that.
He was agitated.
It's such a loaded question. It is
a rarity to see him that agitated, and he's like, these must be questions put together by Manchester United reporters, kind of making a joke out of it. But he just found it completely ridiculous, and it is true. I mean, obviously they're in this to win it. But do you think they have the depth to compete on all these fronts?
Even if he has, here's the thing, even if he has a preference, which of course he does, like if you ask him to sign off on one, he's got a preference, but he couldn't tell you that. That's sort of disrespectful to whichever tournament he doesn't pick.
Exactly. Let's see what you guys are saying. Manuel Monyares, Liverpool to get it done. Ali Al-Falahi saying, Man City, Man U, UCL final. Wow, that would be
very optimistic.
Yeah, for both sides, I kind of think. Arnie Garcia, Liverpool going to lose. English teams not so bueno in Germany. Okay, Andres Pickle Timmons. Bayern have been in better form the last few weeks than Liverpool, which is correct. I mean,
7-game win streak at home, and they've scored a ton of goals. They haven't conceded more than one in any of those games. None of those teams are as good as Liverpool, though.
Right.
The ones that they faced with those 7 matches.
Fabian Cardellino, Liverpool for the win. Ray saying, the reason why Barca always get knocked out of the Champions League is because they always have been in all 3 other competitions, and it's hard to win it when you have to focus on the league and the cup games. It's not impossible, but it would be very hard for Barca. That's the trouble hunt. That's the trouble hunt.
Yeah, if you were going to use one team as an example of why playing in 3 competitions is bad for you, Barcelona is not the one to use it. And there's only been 2 trebles in the history of Spanish football. They've both been by Barcelona, and they've both been in the last decade by Barcelona. So if anything, they're an example that you can win all 3 competitions, even with a short squad as they usually have, no more than something like 20 players by design. I think for smaller teams, if you look at a team like, for example, Getafe are competing for a Champions League spot right now, it can be devastating for a team like Getafe who don't have the quality or quantity of players to compete across 3 competitions. But we're talking about Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, Bayern, Liverpool, Atletico. They absolutely have the depth of the squad and the number of quality players to be able to compete on 3 fronts.
Franklin Lemma has been commenting this exact comment a couple days now in a row for Sports First. Gabriela Amato is a soccer mom. I'm not sure what that means. I love soccer. I'm not a mom, so I'm not technically a soccer mom. But
don't own a minivan either.
I don't own a minivan. So, yeah, I'm not carrying my kids to soccer practices. So, yeah, Franklin, you did get the attention that you wanted. I see your comment. It is funny and not funny. Jean Kiel, that would be a waste of talent if they throw the Champions League. They get paid boatloads of money. Suck it up and play. I don't think they would ever throw the Champions League.
That's why it's such an absurd question to ask.
Yeah.
Which one is more important? They both are. You don't want to lose either one of them.
No, absolutely. Fabian Cardellino, UCL brings in more money than the league, correct? But I think based on just what I've heard from Liverpool fans, they would prefer to win the league. But it's, again, a silly question. Let's go through today's matches and get your predictions. Barcelona, Lyon, how's this one finishing?
It's a narrow Barcelona win.
Okay.
I think Lyon are going to give them a lot of trouble today.
Give me a number.
Producer wants a number. And you guys, please give us your comments below because we do call you out if you win.
2-1 Barca.
Okay, perfect. And Liverpool, Bayern. Bayern, Liverpool.
I've got Liverpool going through, but a draw. So it was 0-0 in the first leg.
Okay, so with the away
draw
goal.
would get them to on the way back.
Interessante.
We'll go 1-1, sure.
1-1.
You know what? No, these are 2 very, very exciting teams. Let's go 2-2.
Ooh, goals. And Copa Libertadores action is back on beIN Sports today. We were supposed to have Cruzeiro versus Deportivo Lara, and you were actually going to be on that call, but that game has been postponed to tomorrow. Deportivo Lara has had some trouble getting out of Venezuela. Our thoughts are with the people of Venezuela.
Yes.
And so that's been moved to tomorrow. So we have San Lorenzo versus Atletico Junior on both channels, English and Spanish, at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Excited about this one?
I am, actually. The Libertadores is just wildly entertaining, and it almost doesn't matter. I mean, these are 2 good teams facing off tonight in Argentina, but it almost doesn't matter who is playing, especially early in the group stages. Everyone's got this sort of enthusiasm. Everybody believes that they can make it out of the group stage right now. People are going after it for the most part. It's already given us plenty of drama. The quality of the goals have been unbelievable. And just watch today. Anytime there's a Libertadores match played in Argentina, as tonight we have one in San Lorenzo, the passion of the fans just pours out of your TV screen, pours out of your monitors. It's brilliantly entertaining to watch. So must see TV tonight.
Amazing. Flamengo versus Quito at 8:20 on the English channel, and then River Plate versus Palestino at 8:20 on the Spanish channel. So we have an evening full of Copa Libertadores action. I'm going to read some of your predictions before we go.
Right.
Please get them in, because if you win, we did have someone who was spot on yesterday. We read it in the second sports burst of the day. Lyon 1-1 Barcelona. Lyon go through. Interesting. Mike Fuentes won all Lyon also. Don't at me. Don't at him.
Shot and fraud.
Shafi Jakish, Bayern and Juve in the final. Interesting. I predicted Juve to win it all this season, but I'd be kind of surprised if Bayern are the ones.
Cristiano put them over the edge for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know.
I mean,
They got momentum.
so far, so good.
They got momentum.
That's not a real thing. Momentum doesn't exist.
Oh, that's a whole nother sports burst.
We have another 15 minutes.
Ethiopia, Barca 2, Lyon 1. Yeah, guys, keep writing your predictions. We're running out of time here on Sports Burst, but catch Copa Libertadores action. And also, we're going to be back with a special sports burst after the Champions League matches. So as soon as you flick off your TVs, turn on Facebook, and we'll be chatting about what happens. Let's see if Barcelona enter crisis corner. Also one of Drew's favorite words. We'll see you guys tomorrow.